What's up, everybody, and welcome in. This is FST. It's Fantasy Sports Today. My name is Matt Striker. His name is Joe Pisapia, and this is the place for those that want to dominate. Whether it's season-long fantasy, championship week is upon us, a tip of the cap to you. DFS, still money on the table. Straight-up wagering, we've got you covered. Joey P, my man, everyone in social media land, at SportsGrid TV, refreshing constantly to hear what you have to say, because it is time now for the most important start-sit of the entire fantasy season. Welcome in, my friend. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready, baby. Let's do it. We got to win some championships. We've been doing this now since July. It's time to make sure that we see this thing all the way through. And once again, if you're not playing your finals this week, please message your commissioner. You don't have to live that way. People don't play in week 18. You can't leave fantasy championships out there for teams that are sitting guys or guys that are just not going to play next week. It's bad fantasy. Don't do it. There you go. There's my public service announcement for everyone. All right. I'm done. Okay.
Let's do some good fantasy, though. At SportsGrid TV. Keep your questions coming. Here we go. Right now, we have a running back question coming in. Tyrone Tracy, Giants have Indianapolis, or Rachaad White. Tampa has a lot to play for here against Carolina, but there is a concern. Does Bucky Irving eat into that, Joe? Is it Tracy or White?
Well, Bucky Irving is going to eat, but I think Rachaad White is going to have at least some side dishes available for him in this game. Okay. Tyrone Tracy, I like the talent. I feel like the Giants, though, are just in a spot where things are just going in a bad direction for them. We'll see. My guess is they're going to clean house. The Giants feel like a team that really doesn't have a lot to necessarily play for at this stage, too. I know these guys are neck and neck here. This game is also going to be in New York, and it's very rainy and crappy there. And, you know, you worry about fumbles, just worry about ball control a little bit, because those are negative points. And I know if we're going to split hairs, and God knows I don't have any left to split, but if we're going to, we have to talk about that, because you have Rachaad White, on the other hand, who's probably going to work in the passing game still. He does get some red zone attention, even though Bucky Irving is around. We've seen them be creative in the ways they use Rachaad White. So I'm going to take Rachaad White and play that total a little bit for that team that I think is going to be much higher than the Giants. I worry about Drew Lock turning the football over. That hurts Tyrone Tracy. I worry about Tracy turning the football over. Not that he's a fumble machine, but in the conditions you're going to have, it's going to be 60-something degrees in Jersey. It's going to be a wet one there on that tough field. I don't know. I just think it's a bad scenario for fantasy points for Tyrone Tracy.
See, I mean, it's not splitting heirs as in those that are heirs to your estate. It's splitting hairs. I never knew that. I'll have to get back to that one. All right, here we go. Another question coming in. It's a wide receiver question. We're going to go stay with this Giant game here. Is Josh Downs, Indianapolis, at the Giants, or is it Darnell Mooney? This is going to be a great game at Washington. Both teams have a lot on the line here. Joe, is it going to be Downs or Mooney?
I think for me, it is going to be Mooney. Now, I know this is on the road, and Michael Penix, looked good in the pocket. I think there's some big play opportunity here. Both these guys are more boom or bust kind of guys. Downs, certainly one with the Indianapolis Colts. Again, where I come back to the weather scenario too. I just don't know how Anthony Richards is going to handle that. We're on the road. There's some rain in there. Is the ball slick? Some guys it doesn't bother them at all. I mean, he did play in Florida. So you have to imagine, well, he's used to the humidity and used to the slick ball at the very least. But at the same time, I think Darnell Mooney here is a little bit more intriguing, because I like what I saw out of Penix last week. I think it's something he can build upon. And Jaden Daniels is going to put up points. And when Jaden Daniels puts up points on the other side, you're going to have to throw the football. That's a good thing for game script for Michael Penix. And the other important thing, and the other important question here is, in that will of yours, what are you leaving me? You talked about the heirs. I'm just kind of curious.
How did you bring it back?
Do I get one of the? Well, I don't know. Do I get one of the properties in like the South Bronx that you have?
Without giving away too much, the will is broken down into percentiles. It's what's been done in the family the entire time.
So just tell me, am I single digits or double digits? That's all I want to know. I've spent all
you're
these
actually
years.
A fraction
this is
of
the
a
longest
percent.
Relationship you've had. Okay.
Oh my gosh. My wife is watching this show, by the way, and she is actually going to be she's changing the Google Doc right now. You are at 0.5%.
We are very close. We are very close to this is the
We're
longest
close to living
relationship we've had.
together if you keep having this conversation. All right, let's move on here. We'll go to the tight end position. Please get me out of this. Zach Ertz, Washington and Atlanta. Jake Ferguson, Dallas at Philadelphia. What are we going to see out of this Philadelphia team? How are they going to look? All these questions will be answered by Joey P. Come on, my man. Ertz or Ferguson? Who do you like?
I'm just saying I put all this time into this relationship, but I got something out of it. I want to be something. Leave me, Lord. You know, the old wrestling boots or something. I don't know, something. I don't know. I mean, geez, something cool.
Those are
all right. Zach Ertz against Atlanta, Ferguson, Philadelphia. Again, another tough one too. These guys are right neck and neck in the expert consensus rankings on Fantasy Pros with good reason. Ertz has been somebody that I think you can, you know, you've counted on all year to give you a floor of points. But the interesting thing is, you know, we mentioned the evolution here of Jaden Daniels. And it's come, I think, at the cost of Zach Ertz, where Zach Ertz was, you know, kind of steady in the beginning of the season. You're finding him, I think, a little bit more up and down because Jaden Daniels is starting to see the field better, starting to throw the ball downfield a little bit more. Ferguson, matchup-wise, is the one you want, but it's been a little frustrating sometimes. I'm going to lean towards Ferguson here and think that Cooper Rush can build on what we saw last week. Last week, 6 of 9. No touchdowns. Again, that's the problem too. Neither of these guys are big touchdown guys. In fact, Ferguson, you know, is doing his best Trey McBride imitation because he has 0 touchdowns on the season. So maybe we could play the he's due game, but at the very least, I'm just going to chase the volume, and the volume lies a little bit more at Ferguson. That's going to give me more opportunity for fantasy points, and that's what I'm going to take here. So give me Ferguson with Cooper Rush against the Eagles today.
Joe, I want you and everyone to know that my wife just texted me. What's yours is mine. He gets nothing. So there you go.
I would think that I would get something just for taking you away from her for 2 hours and giving her a break
every morning.
Maybe she's the one that's leaving me something. Maybe that's what it is.
Hey, now you're turning the segment into something that I'm not going to. Let's go to a quarterback play here. Oh, look at this. We're going to have more fun here. It's an Aaron Rodgers question. Aaron Rodgers is in Buffalo. Jordan Love is in Minnesota. I mean, just elements alone make me lean to Jordan Love. Game script alone, but I got to hear from you, Joey. What do you like?
Well, I mean, I've given you the best years of my life, and I'm going to get nothing out of it. I'm just trying to wrap my mind around this all in the same segment. Look, Jordan Love, at this stage in his career, the guy that you want to play. I'm just going to keep this one simple. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers in a couple games has been better. Both those games I want to just point out were in Florida. It's warm weather. It was a good situation. Last week, I did have my concerns about Aaron Rodgers in the matchup, and he finishes QB 22. So my concerns were certainly founded. He's going to have the Buffalo Bills. Now, the Buffalo Bills defense does give up a fair amount of fantasy points and a fair amount of air yards. That is something to say where Aaron Rodgers is startable this week. Let's say you're desperate for quarterback play right now, and you know Jordan Love's probably not a guy on the waiver wire in any league, but Aaron Rodgers is, and you had Jalen Hurts. Okay, you want to throw it against the wall? You could start Aaron Rodgers because there is a world where the Jets fall behind early to Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills, and they have to throw the football, and just the yardage totals alone with maybe a couple of touchdowns might be able to get you there. And it feels in a way like Aaron Rodgers is trying to audition for next year for somebody, because I don't think he is going to be back with the Jets. And we should all be rooting for Aaron Rodgers to be back next year in the NFL, because the last thing any of us need is an Aaron Rodgers podcast. And I'm pretty sure that's the next thing that's coming at some point. And that is something none of us need. We just don't need it. Okay. So I hope Aaron Rodgers plays well for all of our collective sakes this holiday season. But start Jordan Love.
With the short time that we have left, let's get one more in. Nick Westbrook-Akine, NWI, at Jacksonville or Chicago in the same game. Go ahead, Joe. Take us to the close.
Tough one here. You're playing for touchdown equity with NWI because he's been the touchdown machine. He's been the touchdown maker. He's like Chris Carter over here, this guy. Chigakonkwo, a lot of targets, though. I'm going to chase the 6. That's what I want. So give me NWI for life. One more week. Chigakonkwo, good start. We'll be back with more FSD after this.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're gonna go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's gonna help me get the job done. There is not gonna be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back into FST. It's Fantasy Sports Today. Matt Striker and Joe Pisapia. And during the break, Joe Pisapia was had a great idea. This is Joe's idea. Okay, look, if Aaron Rodgers does not play in the league next year, a show here on SportsGrid. Mike, Greg, everyone, we've got to get it done.
No.
Joe wants to be a part of this show. Imagine Aaron Rodgers.
I want to be a part of it. I want to be a part of the show. Yeah.
With that said, I believe there'll be plenty of injuries abound in that studio if Joe was ever on the Aaron Rodgers show here at SportsGrid. Let's take that segue and go to the NFL injury update now, because I can see, Joe, that you're becoming very serious, and I want nothing to do with the spears or nunchakus or whatever it is it's laying by the
All right, let's start with the injuries not inflicted by me on other people. Let's start with the Miami Dolphins. Tua Tagovailoa doubtful for today's game. Also, Jalen Waddle not going to be available, unlikely to play with a knee injury. Tyreek Hill has a wrist issue. So all of a sudden, this Dolphins game gets real tricky. Now, the Dolphins should theoretically still beat the Cleveland Browns. But in theory, this is becoming a very dangerous game. If you're investing in this game, good on you. I am not. I can't. I just, no. This is a very range of outcome game for me. And from a fantasy perspective, also very disappointing. You know, it's funny to look back on it. Well,
is that in Cleveland?
What's that?
Is that in Cleveland? Yeah, see, that's why no one wants to play.
No one wants to play. They all took the trip. You know, they had to take the trip. That's the problem. But the weird thing is, too, if you step back and look at the beginning of the year, there were a certain number of guys who were vying for that number one overall spot, right? It was Christian McCaffrey, it was Tyreek Hill, our number one guy, Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase clearly so far has been the best of those options at the number one spot. And it'll be fascinating next year to see what that board looks like at the top. I imagine it's going to be Chase and Jefferson at the top, and you're going to see a significant drop in guys like Christian McCaffrey next year and guys like Tyreek Hill next year, coming off bad years and getting another year older in the league. It's a bad situation, but it's going to be fascinating from an ADP standpoint. A guy who's going to be higher up, hopefully with a new quarterback too, is Malik Neighbors with a toe issue. Now, Malik Neighbors trending towards playing today. That is good news. He is not the only wide receiver dealing with injuries, though. Ian Rappaport is reporting that Xavier Legette is expected to play despite having a wrist and a hip issue. Devontae Adams, also a guy dealing with a hip issue. Now, he also on the injury report, but is expected to play Week 17 against the Bills. So we'll see. Aaron Rodgers will have his favorite son, his favorite target, Devontae Adams. Now, here's the problem. Garrett Wilson wants out of town. Garrett Wilson is not happy about how things have gone. And Garrett Wilson feels like a winner to me. And I think that's why he's unhappy with where things are going for the Jets. I actually saw a funny reel this weekend of an older guy. He had to be in his, I would say,
had to be definitely old if that's how it impacted Joe. There you go. You're back. How old was he, Joe?
Well,
all right. Joe was telling a story about a senior citizen, and that's an age that I'm approaching. But overall, just having this option here and understanding who's in and who's out is incredibly important. Joe, we're going to bring you back in. What was the anecdote?
Well, the anecdote was this guy who in his late 60s, early 70s, who had been a Jets fan his whole life and decided for Christmas that he was going to get a new team for Christmas. I think that's great. I think that's healthy. I think that's good.
Special right there.
That is a
somebody
Netflix
needs to make that. That's good. Can we write that during the break? We're going to write that.
Yeah, we're going to write that. So I mentioned about some of these wide receivers that we're going to be missing time. But again, this is that time of year where a lot of players start to call it a day. We talked earlier at the Open too. Chuba Hubbard is not available today, so we're going to be down to third-string running backs. Also an injury to keep tabs on for the future of the Cincinnati Bengals was Chase Brown, who got hurt last night on a goal line play where he went down before the goal line to try to save some time and take some time off the clock. But unfortunately, the way he came down was not good. He came out of the game. Khalil Herbert took over. So if you are a lunatic playing next week, you might not have Chase Brown. Just keep that in your rear view mirror. James Conner yesterday too. I got so many Conner questions yesterday. You know, do I play Conner? Do I play Conner? And the same thing I told everybody, which if you have a healthy option, play the healthy option. And when you're at this point in the NFL season, that's what you do. And luckily that was good advice because James Conner tried to give it a go. James Conner clearly wasn't going to be right. And James Conner did not contribute last night. Drake London hopefully will contribute today, though. He is going to be in and playing. So that is good news there for Michael Penix, who absolutely at this point was the right pivot. Kirk Cousins next year will be somebody else, somewhere else. I don't know if he'll be somebody else, but he'll be somewhere else. And that will be good for Kirk Cousins, I think, too. It's unfortunate that the Atlanta situation did not work out. There are some teams that certainly are going to need a bridge quarterback. I'm curious, when you look at the landscape, Matt, is there a team that stands out to you that would benefit from a veteran presence like Kirk Cousins?
Sure. Would Kirk Cousins serve well to have Caleb Williams under his tutelage? Would Kirk Cousins be the stopgap, the gum in the dam for the New York Giants? Would Kirk Cousins be the pivot for the Jets should Aaron Rodgers fall away? There's a lot of questions there, but I think Cousins can help a team as a mentor. You have often talked about all these young quarterbacks and how their play needs time to develop. Having someone like Kirk Cousins there, that to me, a team that has a young quarterback that is struggling or a young quarterback that could benefit from that knowledge, that's where Kirk Cousins, I believe, could still be serviceable to this league, Joe.
It'll be interesting to see, too, the Giants right now at the top of that board. You know, is Shedeur Sanders their guy? Is it Cam Ward? And do you want to start somebody in year one? Or, as you're saying, would you rather have somebody in-house, a veteran presence that has success in the NFL that you can learn under for a year? The impatience in the NFL is rampant. And it's understandable why, because you get the Jaden Daniels of the world, right, who come in and rock it right away. CJ Stroud last year came in, rocked it right away. But for every one of those guys, you get guys that struggle. So, you know, Bo Nix has, you know, certainly picked things up here, and he is at a much better second half of the season. I think one that people are really excited about. Caleb Williams, the big word is progress. And they just don't know if you're seeing it with Caleb Williams right now. And next year, is that a lesson to be learned also, where you draft these kids in the top 5 spots there in New York? There's going to be a lot of pressure for Shedeur Sanders or wherever that quarterback of choice is to start right away. But is that the best thing possible? If you look around the league, you know, Patrick Mahomes sat for a year. Jordan Love sat for a year. A lot of these guys that are the top quarterbacks, and Lamar Jackson sat for a year. We'll see. We'll see if the NFL is learning a hard lesson. We return to look into the future. The future of marketing is.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun. I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back into FST Fantasy Sports Today, where the prevailing strategy is for the host to be able to have a command of an English language. I got a new tongue for Christmas. I'm trying it out here. Forget it. I was going to talk about something else. Let's just go into the futures update here because it's all about making money here. Listen, guys, we've had so much fun this entire season on this show. Why not continue to do so? And part of the reason we have fun is because we win and we make money. Joe, the futures segment here has been the darling. Let's go into the NFL regular season MVP. We have charted this number throughout the season. Right now, there are two names. I'm going to let you walk us through where you think the value may be.
I like the strategy, I want to say. So it's tragic strategy that was so good, but it ended up failing.
G got in my way, bud.
I like that. I think you made a new word. I like that. We're creating here.
Let's call Webster's.
Yes.
That's what we do.
Let's get after the futures. Let's talk about MVP because the gap is starting to narrow a little bit. Josh Allen's still probably most likely the MVP. We've seen it's Josh Allen's turn. This is what we do. But statistically speaking, Lamar has really closed that gap. Right now, Josh Allen was maybe just a week ago at this time, a prohibitive favorite, way more in the minus. Right now, that minus has slipped all the way to minus 250 here, and Lamar Jackson plus 180. So there is some value here with Lamar. So what's the script we could write where Lamar would overtake him and actually win this award? Well, it would be a loss today at home against the Jets. That would be it. That would certainly do it. Maybe all of a sudden give people some pause here at the very end. And if Lamar Jackson next week can somehow will this Ravens team back into the top of this division, which, considering how things have gone for the Pittsburgh Steelers the last few weeks, and that performance in standalone football last Saturday that Lamar put on quite a show against the Steelers at home, I think that all goes a very long way. So I don't think this race is quite over yet. I still think it's clearly, as the Vegas line's telling you, Josh Allen's to lose, but it's also Lamar Jackson's to win potentially. So don't count him out quite yet, but it is a really good MVP race. And statistically speaking, I think you still have to look at Lamar as the better statistical quarterback. If we're talking about vibes and we're talking about feel and we're talking about Josh Allen putting a team on his back without any other superstars, and that's what he's doing. I think what hurts Lamar Jackson is the greatness of Derrick Henry. And that's unfortunate because it's making you take for granted the greatness of Lamar Jackson. Do you find any of that to be true at all this year?
That's an apt statement, 100%. And when you look at the production from the respective running backs, from Cook and Henry, most people are going to tell you, I want Henry because of the name on the back of the jersey. But Cook has been really solid as well. But no one is saying that Cook is eating into Allen's value. So that has a lot to do with name value and recognition. So I'm with you 100%. Derrick Henry standing in that backfield definitely is the reason that Lamar Jackson sits at a plus number. The next one on this list, Joe, is an interesting one here because of the fact that Jalen Hurts is out. So now what does that mean for running back play? Saquon Barkley to break the single-season rushing record. It's 2106 or more. It sits at plus 210. Do you think Barkley is in line to do it, considering the matchup he has this week and next week?
I don't. I think you will get over 2,000 yards. Right. But I think this would be foolish, potentially. Now, it's one thing if he breaks a big play, has a big run in one of these games. That's going to make a big difference here. So he's got the Cowboys this week, next week against the New York Giants. So that's what gives me pause about this, because there is some sort of perfect storm cycle. You're in Philadelphia against your old team, the Giants, to set the record, and a team that really has nothing to play for too. It sounds like a script, again, another Hallmark movie kind of scenario that we're putting out here. But at what cost? And if Nick Sirianni is smart, and I know there's a lot of people around the NFL circles that are questioning the intelligence sometimes and the decision-making of Nick Sirianni, I'm putting Saquon Barkley in bubble wrap. I am trying my best to make sure that I have him ready for the first round of the playoffs, or if I get the number one seed, second round of the playoffs. Can I make sure that I'm very careful with Saquon and budget him? He is at 1838 right now to get to 2106. Certainly far from impossible, but I think one that you've got to be very careful of. Records are great. Championships are better. So I think that's why you're getting 2-1. I think it's a perfectly good wager, but at the same time, I don't think it's something that I am locking in like it is automatically going to happen. And the last one too, another person chasing history. We talked about it last week on the show. We're going to update you. Plus 110 to keep the streak alive for Mike Evans to record a 1,000-yard receiving season yet again. Currently, he is at 818. So we'll see if he can get there. He is 2 games away from 1,000. Again, very achievable. He's got to get about 88 in these next 2 games each to get there. So we'll keep an eye as we chase history. When we come back, we're going to chase the overs and the unders, the fantasy props. Don't go anywhere. We're going to make you some cash.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start, so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The 2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun. I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back into FST Fantasy Sports today, where we're dedicating the show to deathmatch wrestling. The entire show. No, I'm just kidding. We were talking about it during the break. It's quite an interesting genre. Hit us up at SportsGrid TV. Let us know, are you into deathmatch wrestling? But I know most of you are into fantasy overs and unders. That's how we win our money. Spend it how you will. So it's time now to dive into the over-unders for this week. And Joe, this is going to be a really interesting conversation. Let's get right to it. Jordan Love has a game against Minnesota. I believe it is in Minnesota. 245 and a half passing yards. You would think the elements would dictate as such. Over or under, what says you?
Well, look, I think everyone's going to overreact to what you saw in the opening of the season where you had 389 passing yards against the Vikings and just want to smash this number. But this is going to be unpopular. I'm going to go under here. If you go back and look at last year, too, against Minnesota, this was much more in line with this number, 229 passing yards last year. Now, again, that was beginning of the year, beginning of his career. But then week 17 last year, when they were really humming, 256. So I'm going to go under here. This Vikings defense is very good. I think this game is going to be a little bit different than what people might think of expectations. I think it's going to play a little bit tighter. I do like Darnold and Jefferson in this game. I think that they have something to prove here against the Green Bay Packers, and I think Minnesota's a tough building. So I'm going to go ahead here and take the under with Jordan Love. I think everybody's running to the over, and I think Vegas with this low number is trying to tell us something, and nobody wants to hear it. They're just seeing value, and like flashing lights going, oh, you had 389 last time. There's no way he's not going to go for 300. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Vegas is wrong, but they make a lot of hotels. And they have a lot of property. So Vegas isn't wrong that much. So the fact that this number isn't 275 and a half, it's 245 and a half. They see something too. And also, let's not forget too, Christian Watson out for this game. So there's another piece missing. They've become a very run heavy team here towards the second half. They really found a lot with that. So I think this might be, like I said, a little disappointing. People are rushing to the value, but I don't know if it's the right call. I'm going under.
Really astute bettor's eye right there from Joe Pisapia. Okay, let's go to a running back here, James Cook. The number is 61 and a half rushing yards. Over or under for the Buffalo Bills backfield standout?
Well, we were over last week with James Cook. We said ladder bet it up to 100. He got us 100. Way to go. Good job. The week before, 105. Now, the week before that against the Rams, again, that game script totally got away from them. They were down by 30 points. It was crazy. So they abandoned the run. I don't want to take too much out of that. The week before against San Francisco, though, 107. So the secret sauce here for the Buffalo Bills, 3 of the last 4 weeks, when they have won all those 3 games, basically, is James Cook rushing for 100 yards. 107, 105, 100. New York Jets, that's a team you can run the football against. And I'm going over again, 61.5. I think this is a small number. I think this is another ladder bet opportunity, and I think people are just flat out missing this. And I don't understand why this one is so low. I understand there's sometimes fear in the marketplace too, where, you might have Josh Allen running the football a lot, but I think the Bills have shown their hand here. And once again, the up and down nature of James Cook is true, except for the fact this trend in the last month is very much the opposite. The only time out of the bye that it hasn't been that was the one game where they fell behind by a lot early, where you just took James Cook out of the equation. So again, I think there's another opportunity this week, and I am also, once again, going to ladder bet it, and I think all of you should too. There you go. There's my James Cook spiel. I approve this message.
Joe, you'll ladder all the way up to 100 for this game?
I would definitely go into the 90s on this one too.
Okay.
The Jets aren't quite the Patriots, but then again, nobody is except the Carolina Panthers. But there's definitely opportunity here. Absolutely opportunity. The Jets are a team also that this is an in-division game, but at the same time, I think the pride is hard to find nowadays, especially on the defensive side. I think that is more to the point at this stage.
All right, same game, different color jersey. Breece Hall, 23.5 receiving yards, over or under, and why?
Yeah, I'm going to be looking at the over on the 23.5. Again, I'm kind of banking on game script here where Josh Allen, the Bills get up to a lead. And the Jets have to kind of claw back into things. And that would mean getting away from Breece Hall, the rusher, and going towards Breece Hall, the receiver. And 23.5 is a very achievable number. I mean, this is something, you get 3 or 4 targets here that he could absolutely achieve this, especially if he has one big catch potentially. So I'm going to go in the over on 23.5. I know some of my colleagues at Betting Pros also like this week. So we're all holding hands, and that's usually a good sign.
Don't know how I can follow that. Let the imagery just kind of sit there, and it's gone.
Holding hands.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's great. It's the holiday season. I'm totally all for it. How else do you expect to exchange protons?
Like the Who's around the Christmas tree and the Grinch, and we'll sing that song.
I go to the Simpsons. You go to Dr. Seuss. Let's go to Mike Evans. He has 818 receiving yards. In order to get to 1,000 once again, he needs to do it in the next 2 weeks. 82.5 receiving yards is the number. Does Mike Evans go over or under that today?
Last week, I was concerned with this number, right? It was 92.5, and he ended up with 69. I was very concerned against Dallas. I just thought it was going to be one where they were going to zero in and try too hard to filter the football, and I was right. This week, I'm in against the Carolina Panthers. The number is lower. It's more achievable. We're down 10 difference. I see him going over this in this contest, and then after that, next week, he gets the New Orleans Saints, and Marshawn Lattimore's not there anymore. And that's been the guy that's always given Mike Evans fits in the past. He's been that one guy that's always gotten his number over the years. So I'm going to go right now with the over this week and probably next week as well. I do think he gets that 1,000 yards. It means something to him. I think Baker Mayfield and company are going to find a way to get him.
All right. It's week 17 in the NFL, which means look to Tennessee. Why not? Chig Okonkwo, 37.5 receiving yards. They're not the same team they were in weeks 1 through 16, I would say, or 15 at least. Does he go over or under 37.5 through the air?
Over. Just this one's insane to me. Chig Okonkwo, since Mason Rudolph has taken over quarterback the last 2 weeks, you ready for this? 21 targets and 17 catches. So, yeah, 59 yards and 81 yards. And against the Jacksonville Jaguars, another team that, gives up a ton. This is another no-brainer to you. At the end of the year, sometimes there's some easy money to be made. And this is one that's easy because you don't have a lot of data on Chig Okonkwo. It's a newer thing, right? It's popping up there. It's Mason Rudolph. There's a lot of anomalies. When you have those anomalies at the end of the season, there are opportunities, and this is one to take advantage of it. So people will roll their eyes, and they also want you to bet on the Titans game because Titans-Jags is not exactly going to pop a huge rating today, right? It's not Packers-Viking. So how do you do that? Well, you entice people with some lines that are pretty interesting here. You try to get some action on that game. And this is a way to do it because this is a gimme number 37.5, in my opinion.
Wait a second. So are you implying that the NFL and the books are in cahoots based off of these numbers? That's impossible, Joe. Would you stop it? Now you sound like you're on an Aaron Rodgers podcast. All right. The Fish are playing.
That's why Browns. I want to be on the show so bad. That's why.
The Fish have the Browns. It's in Cleveland. The Fish are absolutely banged up. Nobody really wants to play, but Devon Achane is going to play. 59.5 rushing yards, over or under in lovely Cleveland, Joe.
Listen, I'm going to take the over on this one. You're not going to get Tua playing. You're not going to get Jalen Waddle playing. I think it's a lot of Devon Achane. I think it's going to be gross. 59.5 is, again, a very achievable number for him. You don't have to stretch your brain. This is something he can get on one carry because he's Devon Achane and he's incredibly quick. So I think this one is very achievable today. So give me the over. But that is a game that is, again, very difficult to invest in. Luckily, there are some good ones to invest in, though. And I think the marquee matchup is going to be really fun when we look at the Green Bay Packers and Minnesota Vikings this afternoon. That's a fun one. The other games, again, it's a little haves and have-nots kind of scenarios, what we have left. And then on Monday Night Football, I think everybody had much higher expectations for what the San Francisco 49ers, Detroit Lions game would be in week 17. But clearly the 49ers did not live up to the expectations for that game. So another Monday night that is not quite as good as people had hoped for in the NFL and the scheduling market. We come back, some last-minute streamers that can help you win fantasy championships. Don't go anywhere. There's still some guys on the wire that can help you.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun. I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back into FST Fantasy Sports Today. Matt Striker and Joe Pisapia with you here, giving you everything you need in order to dominate. Quick reminder, at SportsGrid TV. Those are our social media handles. Earlier in the show, we put out a question to the fans. Whom do you think would win in a death match between Joe and myself? We put the poll up, and Joseph, I got to let you know, 79% of our listeners feel that I will tie you in knots. Do with that what you will. It's time now to go to the waiver wire.
Fade the public. Fade the public, folks.
Touche. All right, fair enough. Waiver wire here, Joe, and this is super important. There's a lot of names on this list here. Let's help some people out. First one is a quarterback. It's Mason Rudolph. He is only rostered in 3% of leagues. I mean, honestly, just go out and get him now. And what he's been doing the past couple of weeks, people may be sleeping on it. Joe, what do you think?
Yeah, like the picks last week hurt him a little bit, but that's Mason Rudolph. However, against Jacksonville, it's a really good matchup. So I keep coming back to it. If you're in a deeper league and you lost Jalen Hurts or you had Tua as your quarterback, and all of a sudden you're looking in the waiver wire for a quarterback this week. You're trying to stream somebody. So Aaron Rodgers, I mentioned, is one, probably a little safer, but I don't think you should dismiss where Mason Rudolph is. He has finished as QB 13 and QB 18 the last 2 weeks. So right on that fringy area, kind of a mid-level QB2, good matchup against the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's got healthy weapons. Tony Pollard is out for this week, so you're going to get Tajay Spears running the football. But the fact that Pollard is out, too, could mean a little bit more volume in the passing game. Where you're talking about Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, you're talking about Calvin Ridley, Chigakonkwo, all those guys are healthy on the field playing. And at this point, you're looking for teams that are healthy. I know the Titans don't have much to play for. Maybe a little bit of pride. Maybe Mason Rudolph is looking for his next spot. A little finish here to the season on a good note would certainly go a long way to the next gig for Mason Rudolph, wherever that might be. And who knows? Maybe it's just with the Tennessee Titans. But the Jacksonville Jaguars, again, good spot here for him. I think he can go over 250 yards in this game. I think he could throw another 2 touchdowns. He's got 2 touchdowns in each of his last 2 games. So if you need a streaming quarterback this week, Or in your Superflex league, Mason Rudolph is a guy that you could pluck off the waiver wire and throw in there.
Joe, would you think that Tajay Spears anytime touchdown would be a good play? Yes or no?
I got to look at the number on that one, but
Okay.
I do think it's probably somewhere in that range. I'm going to look at it right now. The anytime touchdown score for Tajay Spears. It's funny. It's not as good as you think it might be. It's plus 105. First touchdown,
Ooh.
plus 550. That might be the better
Okay.
way to approach it.
Okay.
So clearly they think Vegas thinks Tajay Spears is scoring today. Just putting that out there.
All right, let's find out if another running back will find the end zone here. He's rostered in half of our leagues, and it's Alexander Madison in Las Vegas. Nothing in front of him. What do you think?
Yeah, Madison, another guy too, where you're just looking for bodies at the running back position. Amir Abdullah, another guy that you were just trying to find some guys who are live bodies. New Orleans Saints are not very good. We saw that last week. We did have a touchdown here for Alexander Madison, 12 carries for 27. Again, not great, but he did have the touchdown. So if he's going to get the goal line work, that is something to care about. Amir Abdullah, on the other hand, I think is a little bit more intriguing from the fantasy perspective because of the 6 targets he saw last week. So he also had a touchdown, but just 7 carries for 38 yards, 5 catches for 47. I think that's the running back of the two you prefer. So Madison, Abdullah, either of those two guys right now, if you were looking to stream somebody, because we did lose a lot of players this week. And that is something that you're not always accounting for. And with the holiday, it was really hard to keep track of stuff. And news was really filtering out much slower because teams really didn't know on Saturday until game time if certain guys were going to play. We saw that with the Connor situation. Then he played, and a lot of people still played him anyway, and it did not work out. So if you're in that spot where now all of a sudden you find yourself in, I didn't start James Conner, but now I'm looking for a running back, maybe a guy like Amir Abdullah can help you today.
All right, let's move to a wide receiver on a team that must win. Jalen McMillan, available in just over half of the leagues here. While everyone's looking at Mike Evans chasing history, McMillan may be a pivot. Joe?
Yeah, McMillan was a player that, if you recall, I was very high on going into the season. A lot of positive buzz around camp, and then unfortunately, he just didn't see the light of day for the first 6 weeks of the season. Then he did see some opportunity. Then he got hurt. Then the bye weeks came, and he kind of was working his way back. He looks healthy now. And the last couple of weeks, 7 targets, 6 targets, 7 targets. He's working in this offense. Basically, he is averaging 4.5 catches a game and a touchdown a game too. He's got 4 touchdowns in the last 3 games. And he's seeing this sort of workload because Mike Evans is seeing the attention he's seeing. Everybody knows Mike Evans is chasing that 1,000-yard streak. It's very important to him, the organization, to Baker Mayfield. It's probably got incentives in his contract, I would imagine, right, too. So that leaves Jalen McMillan as a guy in DFS, as a guy who is going to have some touchdown equity and potential this week too, that I think you should pay attention to. And the fact that he has been so good with catching those touchdowns is not something you should dismiss. If you're looking for anytime touchdown scorers today, that's another one too that I think you might want to circle looking at his number. I'm going to bring that up for you right now in the Panthers-Bucks game. Bucky Irving's at minus 165. We talked about how good that is. Mike Evans minus 115. But then Jalen McMillan at plus 145, a much better number there. And considering McMillan's nose for the end zone the last couple of weeks, probably the better wager in terms of value.
All right. Give me a logical line for NWI Nick Westbrook-Akine, because he's available in 7 out of 10 leagues. What does he do today?
Again, we're hunting touchdowns with him. Probably something like 3 catches for 30-something yards and a touchdown, hopefully. Like, that's what you're looking for. And if he does that, that helps you. If he does that, then you are looking at a guy who's going to get you 12 points, and that's important there. And that's what we're looking for. And in that same game, Tim, Chinga Okonkwo might be another one, too, where you might even feel better starting him in a full-point PPR, because the volume is going his way. Mason Rudolph is checking down to the tight end. He's using Chinga Okonkwo. The Jacksonville Jaguars give up a ton of yards through the air, so why not keep going back to that well? Okonkwo was a sleeper tight end going into the season. It just, for whatever reason, Will Levis just paid him very little mind. He really had only 1 game in the first 10 weeks of the season over 50 yards receiving. Last 2 weeks, both been over 50 yards. So something has changed there with the philosophy and with the quarterback. And now Chinga Okonkwo was another one of those guys that we can look for. Again, I love the over on his prop 37.5. I'm smashing that. And if you're looking for anytime touchdowns for Chigakonkwo, another guy too, that you might be able to wager on because that number is going to be a little bit better than some of the others, plus 300 anytime touchdown for Chig. We come back, a 3 and out right here on FST.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun. I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back into FST. Matt Striker and Joey P, the Midnight Marauders, giving you the low-end theory. It's time now for 3 and Out. It's been a fantastic show, my friend. What are you looking forward to today?
Well, certainly we're looking forward to the big marquee matchup. It's the NFC North. It's the Green Bay Packers. It's the Vikings. It's old school, original NFL football. Sam Darnold, quarterback of the Vikings, having one hell of a season. Jordan Love and the Packers streaking right now. This should be hopefully a very entertaining football game that everyone can hang out on Sunday and enjoy from a fantasy perspective. You're looking for Addison, you're looking for Jefferson. You're probably looking for more Josh Jacobs than you realize too, especially with that ferocious pass rush, trying to take a little pressure off Jordan Love. And just a reminder too, that Jordan Love performance from earlier in the year, look at the difference in that number Vegas is telling you. From 389 performance to a 245.5 line. Something is up there. They see something, and you might want to not necessarily run to the over there. Could be wrong. It's just the way I'm looking at it. I'm trying to read between the lines, if you will, that Vegas is kind of giving us, and something is off there, and I think I understand what it is too. I think it's going to be a little bit tighter of a contest, but another one too, where if Sam Darnold gets this victory and looks really good, it's going to get harder and harder for Minnesota to get away from Sam Darnold next year. Jake McCarthy's fun. Jake McCarthy has a lot of energy. I like him as a prospect, but I don't know if they're just going to hand the reins to him after such an incredibly successful season of Sam Darnold. So Jake McCarthy will also have a ton of trade value. If the Minnesota Vikings decide that maybe Sam Darnold is our guy and this is just the fit, and Sam Darnold, remember, is not that old, folks. He came into the league very young. He is still in his mid-20s. He is still in a spot where he could play and be your quarterback for the next 5-6 years easily. something to think about. Do you want to revert backwards the way this team is built, the way the defense is built, all those guys? Like maybe Sam Darnold is your guy right now, and this is another game that could continue to push that needle. The Eagles, without Jalen Hurts, that's another one too. How does Kenny Pickett play? What does Saquon Barkley do in this game? And then next week, all anyone's going to be talking about is the New York Giants and Saquon Barkley and this part 2 revenge game scenario. Last time we know what happened. And in week 18, a defense that is booking their flights, Matt, I can't imagine them wanting to tackle Saquon Barkley at all. Then last but not least, fantasy championships to be decided. That is what is on the table here. This is what we play for all year long. So good luck to everybody. Hopefully you have all your players stay healthy today. And then Monday we'll have a final finish to what is the most agonizing, prolonged fantasy football championship week that I could ever remember. 2 games on Wednesday, drip, a game in air quotes on Thursday. Right. And if we call that an NFL game, then the Saturday debacles with 1 great game in between, and now a bunch of games Sunday, and finally Monday. Exhausting. Hopefully you all have made it through the marathon, but it's also time for New Year's resolutions, Matt. I'm going to make a New Year's resolution. I'm going to stop drafting Christian Watson. Hopefully that will help him become a better player next year. I can't keep doing it. Do you have any New Year's resolutions from fantasy football before we say goodbye to this season? Because I think we all need to either stop doing things or start doing certain other things.
I believe my resolution is to continue to be grateful. Gratitude has been the one thing that has endured me throughout this entire year, throughout my life. I think it's very important. From a lighthearted, levity standpoint, I think the resolution is going to be not to be in so many leagues next year. I really just found that I didn't pay the attention that I wanted to all those leagues. Prepared for all those drafts, was real excited about it, and then after a while it was just too much. So maybe that's the resolution, to condense and truncate what I need, Joe.
My other resolution is get you to play in the league with all of us that we're in together. A couple of years ago, Matt said, hey, it'd be great for the show if we all do a league together. So I set it up. I invited everybody. And then Matt didn't join it. And then this year he didn't join it. So that's 2 years in a row he's not doing the league that he created.
I wasn't invited this year.
So hopefully some of that gratitude goes towards that league, and you join us next year in that. Well, I'm also grateful. This is the first year my daughter did fantasy football. We ran a team together. Started out a 2-5 team. Snuck into the playoffs, won a round of the playoffs, lost last week. So very good first effort there for her. So the bug has bit her. She plays football, and that's very exciting for her to start to look into the fantasy world a little bit. She's mad because we didn't draft Mike Evans, one of her favorite players. So she's a little salty about that still. But what are you going to do? I tell you took Kelsey, you took Mahomes, you took all your favorites. You can't get all your favorites at the end of the day.
Well, I'll tell you this much. You are my favorite, and I also would like to shout out Cool Hand Luke, TD Jake. You guys came on for this season, and every time anyone joins the show, they immediately become family. So thank you guys. Joe, take us home.
We'll see you next time, kids. Good luck in the championship.
Anyone that's
contest show in the land. The Las Vegas Football Contest Show focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Uncle Stevie can just walk up the aisle like he's at the supermarket. I'll get a starting pitcher here, I'll get a closer here, I'll get a first baseman here, and he'll just keep throwing things in the cart because there is no limit.
Now he's gone, so they got to go get arms to make that team better. Because the bottom line was they were just outclassed by the Dodgers. Let's face it, they got their ass beat.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
I'm actually not even on a side today.
Yeah.
And I'll get to that. Why are you on Texas?
I gave them a chance. Maybe not me as the overwhelming authority in college football, but entering that game on this set, to you guys, I said there was one elite defense entering the matchup in Austin back to end out October. It's not the Bulldogs like it used to be. It is Texas.
College football today, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun. I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.